Hello there, and welcome. This is an analysis of the Life SMP, the first season of which is called Third Life, the second season was called Last Life, the third season is Double Life, the fourth season is Limited Life. No confusion on those names whatsoever. So each season, people come in certain orders, and so for the top 5 placements in the first season, they are green. The second 5, they are yellow, and the rest are red. And so this is the order. Jimmy went out first. Green went out last. There are their points from 14 to 1. And the second season was like so. The third season was like so. And the fourth season was like so. And by the way, I know Mumbo and Lizzie are not included in this for for the first bit here. I think it's useful not to have them in there because they were each in only one season. So assigning the points for the order that they went out in any particular series, you add up all of these points, and you get point totals. Now this presents an interesting picture of what's happening here, but it's not a complete picture because certain people were not in certain seasons. And so we take Pearl, for example, was in Last Life, Double Life, and Limited Life. Add that up. That is 9 points. 9 divided by 3 seasons is an overall point value of 3. And whereas Martin was in 4 seasons, and so he has 13 divided by 4 is 3.25. So sorting it, we got a little bit better sort. But is this the best way in order to look and behold at what's going on here? I don't think it is, because the first season is an outlier. Nobody knew the rules. Nobody knew how this would work. And so I kind of think that looking at the second season through fourth season is a bit clearer. So we organize it by that. But again, certain people were not in certain seasons. So sorting that again. And I think this gets a little bit clearer because you can see here the people who got the top 5 placements in the first season, they don't really do all that well, with some exceptions, for the remainder of the series. So that's a thing. Now you might say Double Life, where each player had to share their life total with somebody else. Is that an outlier? And that's fair. So just considering the points from Last Life and Limited Life, and we get a little bit different of picture, but again, somebody wasn't in a certain season. We do the point value thing, and that's the only one that actually doesn't change. But I don't think that does too much to clarify the picture. Having more data, I think, is good. Double Life wound up not being quite as much of an outlier as I thought that it might. So, going back to the last 3 series, overall value, this, I think, is the best picture of evaluating all the various players. Now, you might notice that some players consistently place in the top 5. Some players consistently place outside the top 10. And then you have a mixture of red and yellow placements, more of a solid yellow placement, smallish beans if these two kind of cancel out. Then you have yellow and greens and a little bit of noise in there. These two placements in particular, Ren and Impulses, those are outside the norm, I would say. So then there is looking at the 5th season, Secret Life, and trying to guess or make predictions as far as how people are going to place. And just a brief aside before I continue, I think Limited Life, the 4th season, is the best season overall. The first season was amazing, and the second season was good, and the third season was alright, but I think everybody was firing on all cylinders in season 4. That was amazing. It was just so much slaughter, so much death, so much amazing stuff. So my personal opinion, the 4th season is the best, followed closely by the first season, and then a more distant 3rd, and then a more distant 4th. Now, I'm sure that other people disagree, and you are welcome to disagree. Please articulate why I am wrong in the comments with a lot of justification. I'll be interested to read that. Secret Life winds up addressing the fact that some people do consistently get to the front, and some people do consistently go out at the back, and introduces the mechanic of the secrets because then it's a variable within the equation so that we don't just have a repeat of season 4, which, as awesome as season 4 was, and I wouldn't mind having a season like that in the future, I can understand not wanting to have those kinds of seasons back to back. So, now looking at everybody, now obviously the season has progressed a little bit. We have Gemini Tay, we have some people who have gone out already, and this is indicating who is on red, who is on yellow, and I'm tallying up the points as people go out. Now here, spoiler, I have my notes. I'm just going to be referring to them. So just analyzing people from those that have already gone out. LD Shadow Lady and Mumbo. These are their second seasons. They were each only in one previous, and what you could say is that they did so poorly here because they're out of practice. They have not really gotten into the series yet. So these placements, that's a single data point. That could be noise. Unfortunately, we now have 2 data points, and it's a little bit sad. Now, LD Shadow Lady, did she really go out before Jimmy? She can do better. She needs a solid coalition partner to ground her. Seeing her team with S Major would be awesome. And by the way, I know is that I'm going to say S Major and S Major. That's just going to happen. Mumbo, this is his second season. If he had been in the series 4 more seasons, I think he would have a more refined sense of self-preservation. He's to team with S Major. Now, by the way, I'm going to say that a number of times. S Major is the Life Series MVP. He is the Kingmaker. If you look at his overall value, just considering these past 3 seasons, he has the lowest overall point value. He could have won season 3, but he chose to give it to Pearl. He could have chosen to strive to win season 4, but he was trying to play nice. Any halfway competent player that teams with S Major has a free pass to the end game. And there's only a few players that I don't think that he could carry to the end game. And one of them is Skizzleman. It's like Skizzleman, nice guy, but is both not dangerous and not competent. Not even S Major could get him to the end game. Jimmy is a liability. S Major actually said this in the first season, that it's he said very, very cheerfully that it's like Jimmy, it's just that he's not competent, which is unfortunately true, but is kind of amazing at the same time. And the way that Jimmy went out this season, he was so drunk on not going out first that he betrayed Martin. I find that particularly disgraceful because here he is, he has a win because he has been going out first in every single season, except Lizzie managed to kill herself. It wasn't that Jimmy was playing any better, it's just that Lizzie was in the race and she was really reckless. And so he was so drunk, and he should have been treating this seriously, going like, okay, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm going to play it smart. I'm going to stick with Martin or something like that. But he betrayed Martin trying to push him in the lava. It's just, I don't know. Some people's entire life purpose is to show others how not to be the eternal fool. Even teaming with S Major in season 1 couldn't get him to the mid game, let alone the end game. I think it would be hilarious to see S Major team with Jimmy in some future season, just for S Major to try to get him to the mid game. I don't think that's going to happen. But we have some others here. We have No Chance, Big B. Big B, he winds up not having the most horrible of placements, but he also plays it very safe. Big B is a liability. He's a natural betrayer. See how he wound up betraying Cleo in Last Life. And is simultaneously very timid, not dangerous, not competent, and not entertaining. Notice how no one wants to team with him in the current season. I find that amazing. Even Jimmy, with all his liabilities, is endlessly entertaining. And I don't think that that S Major even could get Big B to the end. Now, I wouldn't mind. I would be quite interested to see Green team with Big B because it's his season. He invited Big B, and he has said in Double Life how he really wanted to team with Big B. I'm interested to see Green team with Big B and see what can be possible there. But outside of Green or S Major teaming with Big B, I don't think he's ever going to get any better placement. He is going to stay roughly around this point value, I believe. Tango. Tango needs to stop teaming with liabilities. Specifically Skizzleman. He keeps teaming with Skizzleman. He teams with B-Dubs, who's not serious about winning. Tango unfortunately had to team with Jimmy in Double Life, and there was nothing for it, but Tango was always going to go out 13th. And I think that Tango was a really good sport there. Tango deserves to team with S Major some season and actually get pretty far. Now, B-Dubs, as noted by Etho, B-Dubs is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. The reason why B-Dubs is not going to make it to the end game is that B-Dubs plays the consummate fool. B-Dubs is fully aware that what makes him so entertaining, whereas Jimmy is endlessly, painfully entertaining as a fool because he is so oblivious. B-Dubs is almost endlessly entertaining as a fool because he chooses to be. He's not out to win the series. He has the short-term goal of making each episode individually entertaining. That goal supersedes being strategic about trying to quote-unquote win the Life series. See Season 2 where he consistently betrayed Team Best for the lulz. Notice that the only time he made it to the end game was Season 1. One of the two things that needs to happen for B-Dubs to get to the end game. He needs to overcome all of his finely honed comedic instincts, or he needs to team with Etho, and only Etho, or both. Otherwise, he is a liability to any coalition he is a part of. And that's not saying nothing against B-Dubs. That's just what his priorities are as a YouTuber. He's not really interested in winning. There was the season where he didn't even upload his footage because he was just hanging out. It's not that important to him. So those are the people who are already out. Those are the people who I do not believe have any chance. And so then we have those that remain. Now, the most interesting at the beginning of the series was Gem and the Scots. You have S Major, as we've already discussed. We have Impulse. And Impulse, if you look at him, he has consistently, with the one exception, gotten to the end game. He is a survivor. Now in Season 1, Impulse's strategy was to have everybody like him, and that backfired. And in Season 2, he was trying to stay close to Grian, who had won the previous season, and that did not work out. And then in Double Life, he had to team with B-Dubs, and that was a constraint. The Limited Life, when he was unconstrained, and after having learned all the lessons from the previous seasons, he made it to the end game. And that's important. Impulse is a survivor. He does modify his strategy in game a little bit. But the problem is he doesn't understand loyalty, and he has difficulty with crucial initiative. If it's really interesting to watch him talking about the behind the scenes, and also watching Martin talk about the behind the scenes for the end of Limited Life, because Impulse was already defeated at the end. He knew that he could not beat S Major, and he was not going to beat Martin, and he was going along with the stuff. And Martin, he always thinks that he has a shot to win, or at least he's going to give it a good go. When things get crazy at the end, players tend to ally with people they trust. Impulse has betrayed enough people enough times that he is not really well situated to the on-the-fly alliances at the end of a season. Gem, she doesn't understand loyalty and has problems with tasks and social stuff. My prediction, she's going to be top 10, yeah, but I'm really not sure. The difficulty is I don't know who she gravitates into an alliance with. She's an excellent PvPer, but her social skills are not good and has rubbed people the wrong way. As S Major said in the most recent episode, Gem has no band loyalty. And I don't know, maybe she does get to the end game, but with how casual she is at disregarding people, I don't see that. I see this coalition as breaking up. And S Major, yeah, of course S Major, he's going to be in the final 5. How far he gets, that's completely up to him. Then we have Martin. Now Martin, I was really worried about him at the start of the season because he quickly went from green to yellow and then to red. And I was actually legitimately worried that he would go out before Jimmy. But that was a miscalculation on my part. Martin does not like building. He's going for the lulz. He loves playing the heel. He has a precise sense of self-interest, which cuts both ways because often he does not understand other players' motives on the fly. I think he understands also that it would be more entertaining for him to be brought down as the villain in the final act rather than winning 2 seasons in a row. So, will Martin get to the end game? Yeah, we have every reason to believe that Martin's going to get to the end game. He has the discipline. He is doing a good job on managing his resources. He will be there. How that will go out, that's one of the interesting bits. So, prediction, final 5, definitely. Then we have Grian, Etho, and Cleo. Now, this is interesting because I have thought for a couple seasons now that Etho and Cleo need to team with someone who has more initiative. And I've thought that Grian needs to team with someone who is more stable and balances self-destructive tendencies. Because when Grian was teamed with Scar in season 1, that grounded him. But then when he's been left to his own devices, he's kind of all over the place. And especially in Last Life, when him and Smallish Beans teamed, yeah, they made it close to the end game, but their own destructive tendencies weakened their position so terribly much. So, and it's interesting to watch him in this season because Grian, he really doesn't know what he wants to build. He doesn't know what alliances he wants to have. He's not sure what to do. And now he's finally teaming with some people who are just solid teammates. He's still not the best teammate. I do think that this is the best shot for the end game that he has had since season 1. Teaming with people that balance his self-destructive tendencies, actually being a bit strategic. I do predict that he will be in the final 5. With the caveat, so long as he doesn't do anything stupid, or at least too stupid. Etho, this is the best shot that he has for getting to the end game that he may ever have. Teaming with someone with initiative, short of teaming with S Major, of course. But that said, Etho's washed up. My prediction is that he will be in the second 5. And I think that's just because the fire in the belly isn't there, and I think he's just hanging out, and he doesn't particularly care about winning the series. He's just for hanging out. While I think that he will definitely survive, because if you look, he is consistently placing close to the end game. Cleo, I think this is the best shot for the end game that she may ever have, short of teaming with S Major, of course. I do think that Cleo, she'll have a solid placement. I'm confident that she will get into the second 5. I'd really love it if she made it to the final 5 somehow. Importantly, both Cleo and Etho, they were both the last people on green. So they have more hearts to burn through at this point. Whereas consider Impulse, consider Gemini Tay, they only have 1 life each to work with. It'll be interesting to see how these 2 teams break up. It would be interesting to see a coalition again between S Major and Cleo. In this past session, they wound up doing a Widow's Alliance. That's a very natural alliance. The 2 of them teaming with Pearl, that could happen. By the way, Pearl and Joel, I think they're doing a very good job of working together. Joel is most interesting when he's being responsible. And I think he'll be a good dad when he and Lizzie finally have kids. He has demonstrated greater self-control this season. He has been doing quite well since he became Red. The danger is when he runs out of players who are easily killed, because he can lose his head, and that is the only thing that's really an obstacle to him in the end game, because he doesn't always prepare the best, but he's been preparing really well this season. And then he loses his head in certain situations, takes risks he doesn't need, and then he gets dead, and then it's all over. My prediction is that he's going to be in the second 5, but I really want him to get into the final 5. I think he has potential for that. I don't know if it's this season. I don't know. And then there's Scar. Scar is doing amazingly well. He took almost 20 hearts off of Gem and made her retreat. And that's before he accidentally killed her later on in the session. What alliance will he fall into? I don't know. Prediction. I think this is the season where he gets to the final 5. I hope that he does. It's Scar, I know. I mean, you look at his record. He's been getting the 9th spot consistently. For someone so chaotic, he is actually the most consistent person over the course of the past 3 seasons for placement outside of Jimmy. And notice it's the size that I make their names. that's indicating how good a shot I think they have. I think everybody here they have a shot of potentially they're all going to place in the top 10, I think. But Grian, S Major, Martin, and Scar, I'm pretty confident that those three are going to get to the final 5. And I probably should make Pearl. That same size. I just don't think she's going. She might get to the end game, but she's not going to win because I think she lacks crucial initiative in the final bits in order to win. She's a great player, but and one of the things going against her is that she is playing at 5 a.m. My prediction is that she will be in the final 5 because she's a good player. Just because she does not draw aggro, everybody likes Pearl, but she's missing that crucial initiative in order to get the Dubskis. So, and notice that how I have things ordered here, because we have everybody is sorted for overall point value here. Notice everybody that is in red, and by the way, this column I did not mention earlier, these 3 players, they have been getting in the top 5. These players, it's much more mixed bag. These players are consistently at the back of the pack. And so everybody that's consistently towards the back of the pack is red, it should be noted. Whereas everybody else in this section, it's like there are exceptions, Smallish Beans, Impulse, and Martin, but I don't think that should be held against Martin. Impulse, it's more concerning, because Martin is just fine chilling out at red. Impulse, less so. And Smallish Beans, he is pretty stacked. So that might not be as much of an issue as all that. But everybody else, they are yellow, and they have more hearts to burn through. So that is my rough evaluation of all the various players. This is what I think that they're going to place in the Secret Life here as we get into the 8th and potentially 9th episodes. One thing that I should mention here is that Jimmy, he has a massive 74 points overall. The only way that he could have had more points is if he'd gone out first. And he has an overall point value, divide this by 5, of 14.8. By what an odd accident Mumbo, he actually has 30 points, divided by 2, gives him an overall point value of 15. Now, Jimmy properly should hold this over Mumbo's head, because Jimmy doesn't have a lot to he does not have a lot to brag about. And being able to brag about this on basically a technicality, because I'm sure that if Mumbo played a few more seasons, that his overall point value would be lower, but it's not. It's not. He's actually technically an overall point value behind Jimmy. People should mock him for that, and next season he ought to do better. Just play the game better, Mumbo. Play the game better. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting. I hope you had a good time. I hope you have a great day. If you disagreed with me any, by all means, articulate at length in the comments below. And cheers.